Yeah.
Daniel Jones. I just saw a push notification before we came on the air for this segment from CBS Sports, and it was, could Daniel Jones, I haven't clicked on the article yet, could Daniel Jones become the next $30 million quarterback? He's among many contract year NFL players to watch this season. He's in a contract year. He is having an incredible start to the season.
Baker, Sam Darnold. There's a lot of
Baker's in a contract year?
No. I'm just saying he's following that same route to, hey, it didn't work here. It didn't work here. But look, it worked here. Yeah. Sam Darnold is a perfect example. Geno Smith is another example. Obviously, Baker literally revitalized his career with the Chargers on like one drive a couple of years ago. I mean, why not, man? I know we all think Daniel Jones is a bum, but, bro, he's winning.
And I think Shane Steichen, those two awards are attached. We're all I'm expecting, I'm going to say we all, speaking for anybody, I'm expecting the Colts not to fall off. I'm expecting the Colts to have a lull at some point. I think Shane Steichen is a great coach. I don't think Daniel Jones is a great quarterback. So we'll see what happens here in the next couple of weeks. If they're 5-0, 6-0, you gotta buy in.
Omar says Baker Mayfield is in a contract year.
That Baker's about to get some.
He is going to get paid.
Didn't they just give him $100 million a couple years ago?
He is going to get paid. I would love to see him in a Dolphins uni next season. How old is he going to be?
I don't care.
Yeah, you say that until he pulls up here at 39 years old.
He's 30. He'll be 31 next season, Hawk. That Baker Mayfield will not be in a Dolphins uniform. I hate to break it to you, but Tua Tagovailoa will be your Dolphins star. Unless Tua retires, he will be your starting quarterback week 1 next year.
What if, and we know Chris Grier is the Grier father. What if if Baker is not going to sign another contract with Tampa, wants to stay in Florida? That leaves only 2 other franchises. Does Jacksonville love Trevor Lawrence, or are they about done with him?
I think they're about done with old Trevor.
They won.
What if we just swap Trevor Lawrence for Tua? Because both franchises are done with their quarterbacks. And just see if a change of scenery helps.
I would take Baker over Trevor all day.
Oh, in a heartbeat. Yeah. Baker's my kind of quarterback, man. That dude puts his shoulder down. Tua could do that too. They just won't let him.
He put his shoulder down. It's going to his whole arm is going to fall off.
Let's get headlines here for the 4 o'clock hour, brought to you by Doral VW. Doral VW just broke the rules of gravity. Prices are falling so fast, you'd think it's to his shoulder.
What?
Volkswagen's priced like they lost their minds. Doral VW, buckle up. No one sells for less. No one.
Man, if I could play this tape of you two talking about Tua to you guys a year ago, even 4 months ago, 3 months ago, you wouldn't believe it.
A month ago, before the season started, was a month ago. I was with Appel said it, but I was with Appel. If Tua's out there, Dolphins win. For me, it was that simple with this team. When Tua's out there, the Dolphins win. When you have Tim Boyle and Skylar Thompson and Tyler Huntley, they don't win. But when you've got Tua at quarterback and Mike McDaniel as your head coach, Dolphins win. And it's just not true. I can't continue to say it if it's not true.
Yeah.
And we have to make the decision. Well, we don't. Hell, I don't have $1 billion to buy a team. Is it Tua's physical limitations or is it McDaniel's play calling? Is it the scheme or is it the man? Because we talked about it earlier with the 70-point games 2 years ago. Like we thought we were going to be the greatest show on turf. And then now we're struggling to score 20 points. What's the answer? And that's on Stephen Ross and Garfinkel to figure out.
I do, and I don't say this to be the I gotcha guy or whatever. I swear. I just think, Hawk, having that mindset of if Tua plays, they win. there was a large enough sample size against good teams to say, hey, there's a problem here. And I'm not just saying it's Tua. I'm saying in this era with McDaniel and with Tua and with Chris Grier, there's a problem here where even when Tua's on the field healthy against good teams, his stats, his numbers, his production dropped precipitously against good teams when you compared it to teams who weren't very good. And when you looked at his numbers in cold weather games, there was a big issue there as well. I agree with you. Like the game against New England a year ago, I would have told you Dolphins win that game 100% if Tua's healthy. But against the Bills, it's the same story. It's the same thing we've been talking about for 3 years. Coming off the 70-point win, they go to Buffalo. This is the game. They scored 70. It's now or never, and they get routed.
Okay, but do you have that conversation with Lamar Jackson then regarding the Bills?
No, because Lamar Jackson. Do we want to have a conversation of can Lamar Jackson win you a Super Bowl? I think you have to have that conversation because he hasn't been able to do it. But can Lamar Jackson win you multiple playoff games and go toe-to-toe with anybody else in the NFL? The answer is yes, and it's not even debatable. It's not even debatable. They've been to the conference championship game. He's gone toe-to-toe with Mahomes in the playoffs. He's won playoff games, plural. He's been the MVP. It's a different ball game with Lamar, man.
Well, I'm just saying, if you're making one flat-out statement about Tua, though, he can't beat Buffalo, man, I'll put a whole bunch of quarterbacks in that position when it comes to the postseason that you can't beat Buffalo. Because they're one of the elite teams that we've ever seen.
Yeah, but he can't. He's gotten to the postseason twice, didn't play in one of the games, and in the other one, they didn't belong on the same field with Patrick Mahomes. They just didn't. Like his record is 1-what against Buffalo? 1-12 or whatever it is. It's bad.
And we glorify the quarterback position, but how the Eagles are set up, how Buffalo's set up, how Kansas City's set up, how the Bills are set up. Is it personnel again, or is it coaching? And that's the thing, is that all these teams can run the ball. I had to look up the Bills receivers, Shakir and Keon Coleman and Kincaid. These aren't Hall of Fame guys, but they have lines. They have trenches that can compete with that are better than the Dolphins. So now is it on Grier? Is it on the chef? Is it on the cook? Is it on who's it on that we can't? To your point, Solana, you're right. We go play the Chiefs, we play the Bills, we play the Ravens. They're a better team than us. Are they better coached? Is their roster better?
Yes.
That's what we have to.
Everything.
But that's what we have to
agree to that. Then it's not just Tua.
Oh no. But I've been as consistent about this. You guys have to agree. I've been as consistent about this point as everything. I don't think Tua can win you a Super Bowl, but I'm not blaming all of the Dolphins' shortcomings. Going back to 2023, the fall off.
You know what? I'm not doing this today on the 2-year anniversary of their 70-point performance against Denver. Absolutely. Okay. I'll do this any other day, not on the anniversary of the greatest offensive output we've ever seen the Dolphins put together. Absolutely not. Not today.
Just one more question, Hawk. I'm sorry. You put Tua on the Philadelphia Eagles. You trade for Jalen Hurts. Can they win a Super Bowl? Can the Eagles win a Super Bowl?
Are they going to continue to do the tush push? Because I got to see that.
If they push that tush, he's going to be sleep.
I got to see that. He'd be screaming.
Crowder, yes.
Tua
Tua
could win a Super Bowl with a different roster.
I don't know if he could. I don't know if he could win the Super Bowl because you think about the plays Jalen Hurts made in the playoffs last year and with his feet. But would there be a different perception of Tua? 100%, because they can just hand the ball off to Saquon. They can move the chains differently than Miami can. You asked OG, like, what's Plan B? The Eagles have Plan B, C, D, and E. I almost said F. I can't spell. The Dolphins don't. They can't just move the chains that way. So, yes, they're a playoff team. They are. It's everything, bro. It's Grier. It's McDaniel. It's Tua. It's everything. And that sucks. That sucks.
Listen, at 0-3,
can't argue it.
It's not an argument.
You can't argue it. There's no leg to stand on. No, you can't argue it this year.
The only thing the Dolphins have going for them is Julian Hill. at the tight end position.
So certain.
You see, I sent you a stat: 1 reception, 4 yards, plus a 2-point conversion. Which
2-point
doesn't
conversion.
count.
Let's not forget. Yeah. That loss looks even worse without that 2-point conversion.
Your local headlines: Marlins deserve our attention. Still in the hunt in the wild card chase in the National League. As it stands right now, they've won 10 of their last 11, 7 consecutive victories for the Marlins. They're 77-80 overall, 4 games back of the New York Mets, who are clinging onto that final wild card spot. They're 81-76. There's a bunch of machinations for the Miami Marlins to make the postseason. The clearest one is they have to win out, and they need a lot of help from the teams in front of them.
Somebody points out on the text line that if you do, every time you want to buy a pair of shoes, you instead invest in the company. You have to walk around barefoot for your entire life.
Buy some Crocs.
All right.
You know what? I see the little text line now. This is pretty cool to hear what people are see what people are thinking. I don't know how to say it. Can you blame Ross when you heard the story that he tried to have the secret meeting with Brady? He wanted to draft Lamar, and he wanted to get Harbaugh. Ross needs to start putting his meat on the table and making decisions that he wants and not letting other people make decisions for him.
I would imagine that Stephen Ross, probably because the ownership tenure, he's, in my opinion, thrown as much money as asked of him, has made the stadium great, has added in F1 and tennis. I mean, I think he's done a fantastic job. I would say he probably thinks to himself, I should have thrown my meat on the table a number of times when it comes to this franchise, because I would not be at the helm of a loser business right now. When I say loser business, he's more than quadrupled his money, I'm sure. So it's financially. Financially, it's not a loser business. Yeah. But I would imagine he probably says to himself, I should have been more demonstrative in what I wanted done with this team. You'd have to look no further than Lamar Jackson. Mm-hmm. We all know the story by now. He wanted them to draft Lamar Jackson, and no one agreed with him.
Lamar Jackson and Jim Harbaugh are your quarterback and head coach. This entire franchise is different.
There was another chance to get Lamar too a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And look,
every team had a chance.
I think most of us were saying don't do it. Lamar hasn't proven he can stay healthy, blah blah blah, and most of us were wrong. The Dolphins should have jumped at that opportunity. Give him 5 first-round picks. Who cares? You would have been in a better spot.
But we also know, I mean, like what that chatter said, he legitimately was putting the Dolphins in position to go get Tom Brady. Tom Brady was on board, literally and figuratively, because he was on board the ship. Tom Brady was on board. Stephen Ross, whatever he needed to do behind the scenes, and it probably had something to do with Michigan and back channels and whatever, he was going to unveil Tom Brady as the next Dolphins quarterback. And instead, he ended up in Tampa winning a Super Bowl.
Stephen Ross, I have no problem with Stephen Ross and his approach to this franchise. This organization.
Other than he should have put his meat on the table.
He has to start laying his meat on the table. Yeah. Hey, draft Lamar. Well, we don't know because the analytics say, okay, analytics, I'm a billionaire, go to hell. Draft Lamar Jackson out of Louisville, right, please.
But he's still like, I'm fine with what you guys are saying. The context matters. But at the end of the day, he still has allowed Chris Grier to go 7 years without a winning product. Last year, it was obvious. It was obvious that this team wasn't built correctly. The window had shut. That's when the move should have been made. Get a new GM, get a new quarterback, let them evaluate the talent on the team, move forward. And he stuck around for another year. And here you are, 0-3. I'm sorry, like, I'm cool with giving Ross his flowers for the things he deserves flowers for, but to pretend like he's not to blame for where the Dolphins are, I disagree with wholeheartedly.
You want him to fire people earlier? Because that's what you're asking right now.
That's an unstable organization.
So he should fire, like right now, 0-3. He should fire McDaniel and Grier week 4.
God, the time to fire them was last year. They gave a ton of money to a bunch of people who aren't producing for you. And Hawk, to say that's an unstable organization, maybe, but what's better? A general manager, 2 rebuilds, his 3 first-round picks in a draft, all 3 potentially misses.
It's just
that's
me,
unstable.
And I know you said it before the season, so I'm not saying that you're playing hindsight 2020, but for a lot of people, if I told you in a vacuum, the organization he put together, and I'm talking about the McDaniel era, had been to the playoffs 2 out of their 3 seasons, and the one season they didn't, their starting quarterback missed a bunch of games, and the backup quarterbacks were ill-equipped to run the offense. It was the point that I made last year when Stephen Ross extended it, said that the big 3 is coming back, if you will. It was my point then, which is if you get rid of everyone now, you're going backwards. And in my opinion, they were closer to being a playoff winning team than they were to not being a contending team. And that's the way that I felt after last season, because I chalked it up to the backup quarterback situation. But it does seem like we have more info now. I mean, obviously we do. We have 3 games into the season, but also Jalen Ramsey wanted out. Calais Campbell had no interest in staying. You know, we found out Teron Armstead, he retired. Like I think we found out more of the backstory, and it wasn't just that the backup quarterbacks were ill-equipped. It seems like there were a lot more problems, and the veteran leaders leaving, whether it was through a trade or retirement, was kind of a harbinger of what we were about to see.
Yeah. And the one thing, and we 0-3. We can't just say, you can't sit status quo when you're 0-3. What's the plan moving forward? And none of us, I think, on this show can answer this question. Who is going to make these trades? Who is going to move Tyreek? Who is going to move Bradley Chubb? Who is going to draft next year? Because I'll be honest with you, we're going to have a higher pick. We're going to have something in the 10 to 12 range next year if we keep this going. What's the plan? And that's why I think Ross, I've said it before, he has to get the president of football operations or something. He does not know football like that. He has to have somebody to make this plan of how we
again, I would take a step back and go, he knew well enough that Lamar Jackson was going to be a good quarterback. He also knew well enough to go get Tom Brady to be the quarterback of his franchise. Like, he's not a bumbling idiot.
No, he's not weekend at Bernie's, Hawk, but those are to turn that wheel over. If I'm looking right now in Lamar Jackson of South Florida, he's from Pompano. He's in South Florida winning MVPs. This whole organization is different. If we get Tom Brady before Tampa, this whole organization is different. Why can't we have that person that would co-sign on his very intelligent thoughts? And that's where the mid ground is. Like I said, if I had $1 billion, fellas, I swear I'd buy the Dolphins.
But don't we? I mean, to me, that's like the revisionist history stuff, because we think Nick Saban is one of the smartest football coaches of all time, but he chose Dante Culpepper over Drew Brees. I mean, that's one of the worst personnel decisions in the history of sport. And you'd have thought you hired the right guy to make that decision, Nick Saban.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, I can't, to say, oh, Ross needs a brilliant football mind. Well, Nick Saban was a brilliant football mind, made one of the worst decisions in South Florida sports history.
Oh, and nobody hits 1,000. And that's where, and it's funny you say that. I think Nick Saban would have continued to coach in the NFL if he picked Drew Brees, and I might have a damn Super Bowl ring right now if he picked Drew Brees. But a decision over and over and over football-wise, these drafts, and that's why we got to go between, is Tua not the guy? Is Chris Grier not the right cook? Or is Stephen Ross making decisions, not putting right people in place? This is what bad organizations do, is we argue about quarterback, GM, head coach. Who's the problem? Who's the problem? I don't know what the answer is. I don't know how to. We used to ask people like, list the answer or list the problem. Who's the problem? Who's number one? It's quarterback, head coach, GM, or owner. I don't think Stephen Ross is that high on that list. I think Stephen Ross is going to be fourth. We can argue about the other three.